why we're called Football University, not just football FBU camps, is, that university is at higher learning, and we want to be that advanced camp. So when you think about the word university and the kind of reality of higher education learning, is you have classroom time that you just have with the coaches. You have a lecture hall when you go to college, which is what our seminars are, and then you have a lab, which is out in the field, where you actually put the principles that you're learning in the classroom, the lecture hall, into action on the field or in a lab type setting. So it's kind of just a little bit of a unique way we define Football University in the three different aspects of it. So welcome to the lecture hall aspect of Football University. And then as the weekend goes, like I said, I am Vice President of Marketing and Communications for All-American Games, which is a parent company of Football University. And every time we're in an area, we certainly want to get to know more about the area. So if you're involved as a booster club or youth league or high school, or maybe you found out about us from a unique way or didn't find out about us through other different channels and you heard about us last minute, pull me aside. I'd love to get to know you guys. I'll be walking around all afternoon on the field during practices, and love to learn more what FBU can do to help you and your program, more ways that we can improve our systems, our communications, and things like that. We're not perfect. We try to do things the best we can, and are constantly looking to improve ourselves. So any of your feedback is greatly appreciated, or just ways we can do it. So come on in, folks. There's some room. Plenty of room for the bleachers here. You don't have to stand by the cold door. And we're going to be here for about a 45-minute presentation. So if you won't want to stand that long, you're more than welcome to grab some seats. So before I introduce Julian, the guys from NCSA, the recruiting process can be very difficult, tough to navigate. There's some restrictions. Where do I start? Where do I begin? I was a non-heavily recruited athlete. No one really looked at a 5'6", 100-pound nothing from a small Catholic high school in Connecticut. But I chose my schools based on academic, and then they found me because of football. And went on and had a great 2-year career due to concussions that wouldn't let me continue to play, because I was the Rudy of our team, 5'0", 100 nothing, on a defending national championship Division III team at Ithaca College. So my point is what football allowed it to open some great doors for me. And combined with my good academics, my good community work, I was able to get into a school. Julian has a unique story because he was on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, being a highly recruited #1 defensive end coming out of high school, and his story. So this process here can be very challenging, confusing. That's why it's great to have partners like NCSA to help us navigate through. Again, Football University, NCSA, all want to be part of your athlete's football journey and getting them to the next level. So we come back for those graduates in the class of 2015, those kids can have their name on this list. It's an ever-growing list of athletes that are now going to college. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Julian Jenkins, who is a former defensive end at Stanford, played for the Bucks and the Broncos.
Hey guys, before we get started, I want to make sure you guys have materials. So a couple of materials we're going to use. Recruiting 101 guide here. And then on your way out, you're going to grab a football recruiting guidelines, your football future. It's going to be a guide that you guys are going to grab on the way out. There's information about NCAA eligibility, information about height, weight, speed, agility, power that college coaches are looking for, so you guys can grab this on your way out. Inside of your Recruiting 101 packet is a questionnaire. It's a white questionnaire. Those of you parents that did not fill out a blue questionnaire yesterday in the registration line, I want to have you fill out this white questionnaire now, or if you don't have a pen right now, you can fill it out on your way out. I have a stack of pens when you grab this form in this pamphlet here. Even if you're an NCSA client, I want you to fill out the questionnaire again and put client at the top, because what we're doing at lunch is we have a verified ID tent. And that verified ID tent takes a picture of your son. We already got the height and weight yesterday of the majority of your kids. With that verified ID takes a picture of him and his drive fit. There's a lot of mess out there of what kids do when they send information to college coaches. So when they actually set a picture of what they look like in a drive-thru, coming from an FBU camp, and put that on our online profile, that makes them look good. So even those of you that are clients, you filled out this information before, you probably even heard me speak before, I want you guys to fill it out as well. So we're going to go ahead and get started, guys, with Recruiting 101. I really appreciate you guys answering the call to action of bringing your kids to an FBU camp so that they can learn what a day in the life, a weekend in the life of a college player looks like. They're not doing this anywhere else. Nowhere else are they putting the kids on the board to draw offense and defense. Nowhere else are they filming the guys and watching their technique, working with them one-on-one. Now you guys don't realize it, but those are some of the most notable players that actually have a heart to teach young men how to go about being a high school player to become a college prospect. 5 of those coaches recruited me at 16, 17 years old to go to programs like Florida, South Carolina, Notre Dame, Michigan, came to my high school to watch me play in person, sent me emails, were talking to me, you know, some of the guys are 40, 50 years old then, now they're 50, 60 years old, talking to me at 16, 17 years old over the phone. Ultimately, we can teach your kids what to talk about to 50, 60-year-old men over the phone. It's very difficult. How are they supposed to know what to talk to these guys about? But yeah, FBU is such a great event, a great partner of ours, because one of my biggest jobs is to identify talent. And so by coming to an FBU event alone, I've already identified students that are committed to learning what it takes to becoming a good high school player and what it takes to become a college prospect. So even by being here, you guys have done a lot. You can pat yourself on the back for that. Putting them in a place where they can learn the correct way, the correct technique, the correct film study, the correct evaluation of their own self, so that they can start setting goals and moving forward and completing those goals. We at NCSA partner with FBU because we want to evaluate the talent that's here, and then we want to find schools across the country that appreciate your kids, appreciate them enough to want them to come to a camp and prove themselves, appreciate them enough to want to bring them on a college campus, appreciate them enough to go back and forth with them over email and over the phone, and potentially appreciate them enough to give them an opportunity to earn a roster spot and potentially pay for their college education. Now, it's expensive to go to college. You guys understand this. You guys are going through it day in and day out. May have already sent kids to college or on your way to sending a young man or even a young woman to college. I was very fortunate that Stanford University was paying $60,000 a year for me to go to school there. Ultimately, with a 3.65, the average GPA going to Stanford my year was a 4.26. With an 1150 out of 1600, math and verbal combined, not including the writing portion of the SAT. The NCAA Eligibility Center does not include the writing portion of the SAT. I had an 1150 out of 1600. The average SAT going to Stanford my year was a 1420. Realize, your kids can use football or whatever sport they take seriously, baseball, track and field, as a vehicle to drive education for them. Because the first day of class, nobody in my class would dare ask me, because I'm twice their size and twice as strong as they are, what my GPA was or what my SAT score. None of these kids from all over the world would ever ask me that. But I have the same opportunity day one to fight for the jobs and opportunities and careers that will be afforded to them by getting a Stanford education. And so allow and bask in the ambiance of the recruiting process. It can be very confusing, but it's a lot of fun. It's fun being on the road 3 or 4 hours with your parents. Ultimately, after about 30 minutes into that car ride, I don't know what I want to major in or where I want to go to school, and it's not an adequate answer. So dive into this recruiting process. Don't leave it up to your kids. Some of your sons can't even pick their underwear up off the floor, take the trash out, or do anything you ask them to do. so you as parents have to be empowered and learn as much as you can about this recruiting process. My mom became a recruiting expert by the time we finished the recruiting process. And then any man, a coach that got on the phone and discounted her as a parent just because she's a woman, the wrath will come upon me. Oh, we can't be offering him right now. You can't? He's got 5 offers. Why can't you offer him? Oh, we can't send him an invitation to camp. We got invited to 3 camps already. Well, we haven't showed up to the school yet because we haven't gotten enough film. There have been 7 coaches at the school. What are you talking about? So ultimately, guys, you guys become empowered. Don't rely just because they look like young men and look capable of doing things. You guys are used to networking. You're used to taking a resume, taking it to a job opportunity, having that person interview you, determine your value at that company, and determine whether or not you'd be a good fit. And that's what this is all about, preparing them for the road ahead. It's not going to be as simple as applying to school in the senior year. It's not that simple. I would advise all your kids to apply to schools just as if they were any other high school student. Because if a college coach looks at his film, he's emailing, he's calling, but he's not interested ultimately in recruiting him, or if your son, Lord willing, doesn't break his leg or have any type of career-altering injury, that college coach is no longer going to be interested and going to go find somebody to help him. I would encourage your kids to apply like anybody else. I got into 5 to 10 schools I applied to, but ultimately I was looking at between 50 and 100 schools to recruit me to play college football. That happens over time. So you guys have access to technology. The reason we are the #1 website that college coaches use to find prospects is because our technology works. They look at the film, they look at the transcript, they do it not only online now, they're doing it on their phones, on the NCSA app, where they can look at your kid's picture, they can look at your transcript, they can look at their film right here on their phone with the NCSA app now. So I want to go through a couple of things here, guys, to help you understand that we're here at NCSA to identify which among your kids are fully committed to building a game plan and then seeing it through to the end, to see the college recruiting process through to fruition. We're also here to evaluate. So you guys that filled out those blue questionnaires yesterday, or those that are filling out that white questionnaire today, we will be calling each one of you to interview you and interview your students to find out their commitment level. You may say, well, my son's an 8th grader. He's a 9th grader. How can you tell whether or not he has what it takes to play at the next level of competition? Is he playing on his 9th grade team? Is he a contributor? Is he a contributor to his JV team? Does he have over a 2.5, 3.0, 3.5 GPA? Does he look like what a college prospect looks like that went on to play at the Division I, Division II level, that signed this past February? That's how we know. Is he on track for success? That's how he gets to become a part of our network. And then to activate you. Over 130 roster openings come available every single year that college coaches are requesting from us. So you guys realize that at camps and combines, college coaches can't be here because of NCAA rules. So a lot of times we at NCSA are the eyes and the ears of those college coaches. We are here to look at and see who at quarterback, who at receiver, who at DB wants to play, has the ability to play, and then is qualified to compete. We want to activate you guys into our online network that is the platform that college coaches are coming to when they tell Andy Raymond, our scout here, who you'll see is evaluating families next to the track. He's having one-on-one meetings next to the track. You guys will see that. And so he wants to know how the process is going for you as a family, as a freshman or sophomore family. And then what do you need? You're going to need a highlight video. You're going to need multiple highlight videos per season. You're going to need edited game film that makes your son look good with spot, arrow, and shadow on him before every major play that he makes. You're going to need a game plan of how to communicate directly with coaches. And then you're going to need to figure out which 50 to 250, 300 schools may be the best fit for your son. Obviously, your kids are going to have dream schools. They want schools that they see play on ESPN. They want to play at those schools. I already asked them, every single one of your kids wants to play at Cal, USC, UCLA, Washington, Oregon for sure. All these times. I don't know why we get Oregon. Stanford beats them every single year. But it's beautiful up there. If you haven't taken a trip, please do. And they don't understand where you guys went to school. Or they don't understand where their high school coaches went to school. Not necessarily those D1 programs, but where you got the quality of education that helped you figure out what should I be doing in my life, and then where am I going to be working or having my career outside of what football can give to me. So we're going to go through this, guys. I call it the 5 things you guys need to know and do. And we're going to start out and go point by point. I'm going to take some time. I'm going to take about 10 minutes to answer questions. I know you guys have specific questions about your kids, but there's also questions that you guys can ask that the whole room can benefit from. There are some NCSA clients in here as well, and so I will ask you guys to pitch in and talk about your experience as well at the end. I'll leave about 10 minutes to do all of that. But realize, guys, we're going to get started now. The first point to understand is, when does the recruiting process start? Usually the myth is that parents think it starts in the junior and senior year of competition. Yes, that's when the most recruiting attention is paid to from the college coach to the student athlete, but it starts when you step foot on that campus your freshman year. It really does. 30% of the classes that you need to be eligible to play college sports are taken that freshman year. Your students are going to need to be taking 16 core classes. If you leave it up to the high school counselor at the school, the high school counselor at the school will treat your son just like anybody else on campus and prepare them to graduate high school. If they just graduate from the high school, they will probably miss out on about 4 classes they need to take to qualify to play at Division I, Division II program and get athletic scholarships. Don't leave it up to the counselor at the high school. She or he is doing their best with 1,800, 3,000 kids to get them to graduate high school and possibly help them get into UC's and Cal State program with about 14 core classes. 16 core classes, combination of English, math, social studies, foreign language, all of that. You need to have a visit with your counselor at their high school to make sure they're on track with their NCAA core classes. They can put a game plan together, knock those classes out, and be prepared to qualify for Division I or Division II schools. Your kid may play at an NAIA or Division III school, NAIA school like Menlo College, Division III school like University of Laverne, but if they're qualified for Division I, Division II, then that helps them be acceptable, and those college coaches receptive to them in general, because all they'll have to do now is take that transcript, walk it down to the admissions office and see, can we get this guy in? And you will feel comfortable that your sons can get in, knowing you set them on path by going to talk to the counselor. Don't leave it up to the counselor, don't leave it up to the coach, you guys go in. Don't leave it up to your son, God forbid. Go and set that meeting and set that path. I could probably fill up these stands in the city of Atlanta of guys that were better than me in my senior year that played defensive end that just weren't willing to take the right classes. They weren't willing to register for the NCAA Eligibility Center. Your kids that are playing varsity need to register with the Eligibility Center, the website. You can write it down, eligibilitycenter.org. It is mandatory. It costs $65. Do it immediately. NCAA eligibilitycenter.org. You want to register at that site. That allows them to be eligible to play at the next level competition so that coaches can check if they're taking the right classes. Beyond that, you want to familiarize yourself with NCAA rules. When can you contact a college coach? You can contact a college coach anytime you want. You can do anything on your own dime, obviously. You can do anything on your own dime. You can call, you can email, show up in person, looking for coaches. My sophomore year, my mom and I, we live in Atlanta, Southwest Atlanta. We drove to Chapel Hill, I had my resume, I had my VHS tape, highlight tape from, you guys remember VHS? Yes. I had my VHS highlight tape. You know, I might have had a shave, but you know, I look a little bit now. So, we had that, and John Bunting was the head coach at the time. I said, well, let's just go take an unofficial and go walk around campus. He hadn't emailed me, he hadn't called me or nothing. But we got family in the area, we're taking a weekend, go up there, and they said, well, you know, we should just probably just wait outside his office. He's bound to come around sooner or later. About 37 minutes after standing there, John Bunting comes by. I said, well, hey, coach, you know, I'm Julian Jinks. You probably don't know about me yet. You know, I'm league leader in sacks in my area in Atlanta. I had over 100 tackles as a sophomore. I wanted to get you this film. I really would like to come to the University of North Carolina. He said, you know what? I can't even be talking to you right now. You can set that on the table, and maybe I'll look at it. And I said, well, coach, I really just want to come here and be proactive. You know, it was my advice from my high school coach to come here and be proactive about the process. And he said, okay, I appreciate it. We'll let you know what you think, what I think. I didn't hear from North Carolina until I heard from Duke, Vanderbilt, Furman, Wofford, Davidson, FAMU, Georgia Southern. I didn't hear from North Carolina until I heard from about 37 different schools. He called me on the phone. He said, Julian, you know what? I took a look at your film and I like what I see. You know, there was no, I'm sorry about not looking at you before or emailing you or inviting you to the camp. It didn't matter. I treated him just like everybody else. Thanks, Coach. I'm excited about your program. Please continue to send me the information. I've been offered by these 7 programs. I would like to get off from North Carolina. It's the type of school I'd like to go to. So we have to be very proactive in this recruiting process, but you can do whatever you want as long as you're paying your own money to do it. When can coaches contact you? The smaller division schools can contact first. Division III schools can call you, email you, show up in person looking for your kids beginning day of class in the 9th grade year. They don't have athletic scholarships. They have financial aid based on merit, your kid having over 3.0, 3.5 GPA, and their SAT, ACTs. Or they have financial aid based on need, based on the socioeconomic need of the family. NAIA schools can start contacting sophomore year. They can be emailing. Division II schools can be emailing. The junior year is when they ante up the level of communication. Division I schools can be emailing. They can send information through social media. Now they can Facebook your kids. They can tweet them. They can send them Snapchats that junior year. So embrace social media. You want to monitor it for sure. I know there's a whole session here on social media. I told your kids that the rule is if they can't sit down with you and look at their social media pages and look through every single page that they have up there, every picture, every comment, then they either need to get rid of it or be mindful of what they put on there. Because they have much more to lose than every high school kid on their high school campus, than their friends that want to comment about that. Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, it's relative to their experience, but it doesn't matter. They're only going to go through this process one time. And you don't want something that somebody else said that they put on their page to put them at risk for not looking like a kid that has good character. So I already told them that. You can reiterate that to them. And it's okay to jailbreak their page, ask them for their username and password, go in there and look at it. There's no privacy for high school kids that you want to send off to college for somebody that may pay $15,000 to $60,000 for their education. They don't have any privacy. Let them have privacy when somebody else is paying for their college education. So ultimately, you know, I understand that I felt at 15, 16 that my privacy was being obstructed. But I'm very, you know, cognizant at, 21, 22 that I was glad that Mom took that paper from the bottom of the book bag that was a C that I told her was an A-. Or that, I didn't have access to social media, but I would encourage you guys to sit down and look at it with them. 47 guys missed out on D1 scholarship last year for somebody else putting something on their Facebook page or retweeting something that they had said. Don't miss out on these opportunities just because of some stupid social media page. As far as unofficial and official visits, take as many unofficial visits as you want. I would encourage you guys going to games. I would encourage you guys going even to local community college competition. Have your kids watch what college players look like in person, at their position, so they can see what they're committing to. Have them watch games on television, look at their position, Just as they'll watch themselves on film, they'll get examples from these former college coaches, former pro coaches, of who they look similarly at the collegiate level, or who they look similarly at the pro level. I opened up for LaDainian Tomlinson a month ago at a convention, and he said he didn't think he had what it took until he went to a camp and saw Emmitt Smith. And saw Emmitt Smith just look like a guy just walking on the street. Then he knew he had what it took physically to be able to play at the next level of competition and could move forward without fear. The second thing is interesting enough, how do I get discovered? How do I get discovered? The biggest reason I had you guys fill out those questionnaires is so that you guys can get a personal evaluation of your student athlete. The football is a team game. They need each other. Every guy on the team has a purpose. Some guys are practice guys, some guys are tweeners, and some guys are bona fide prospects that are going to get a chance to play at the next level of competition. Everybody needs each other on a high school football team. The recruiting process is very individualistic. If I'm a college coach and I watch your kid's film, I only want to see him. I hope your kids are playing with other good players. But none of them need to be showcased on your kid's highlight film except for your son. I don't want them seeing anybody else but your kid. I was recruiting players in Canada for the Calgary Stampeders. I broke my tibia and fibula. I got antsy around 2 weeks of doing rehab, and I said, Coach, put me somewhere. I want to do something for the team. So he put me in player personnel. I became a scout, which is a fancy term for somebody that watches hours of film every day. And so I watched around 725 DVDs and digital media files, and I came up with about 7 guys that would be prospects to play for the Calgary Stampeders. One guy in particular I liked the linebacker that was playing against them because the first 7 plays he was running, jumping, spinning, and he scored a touchdown. For the next 5 plays, number 51 and number 52 on the opposing team were dominant. And so I called up the linebackers coach in Toledo, even though the running back and Marshall sent me the video. Number 51 had just been cut by the Miami Dolphins. He was a journeyman who traveled through the NFL, and so he was looking for another opportunity. I called his family on Saturday. He tried out on Tuesday. He's still playing with the Calgary Stampeders 5 years post. So realize, guys, you've got to send in a video that highlights what your son is doing, not what kids on the other team or on his own team are doing. We make highlight videos. We have access to a program called Huddle. Your kids have access to a program called Huddle. We can go and pick out plays that are relevant to your son getting recruited at his position based on what college coaches are telling us they're looking for, year in and year out. A lot of times we are the eyes and the ears of those coaches. Beyond coming to camps like this, you do want to get some combine numbers, height, weight, a verified picture, like we have the verified ID 10, 40 time, 20-yard shuttle time, bench press, 185, 155, based on what position your son plays, GPA, SAT score, ACT score, and then game film. These are all factors that coaches use to determine whether or not your kids will be a good fit. And then they look at that information, and they say we like them or we don't. And we try to make sure that that happens to between 50 and 250, 300 coaches that are out there that are using our online platform to look and evaluate those students. Getting discovered. So on our NCSA profiles, guys, and you parents know that are involved with it, you can monitor the recruiting process. Every time a coach clicks on that profile, you'll be notified of it. You have access to that coach's phone number and email. Even as a freshman and sophomore, you guys can call those coaches, say, hey coach, have your son call and email those coaches, say, hey coach, thank you for looking at my NCSA profile. I'm looking to get more information about coming to camps, about getting invited to junior day, about coming to visit the campus, coming to watch a game. And I'm really interested in your program because they have exactly what I want to study. Point number 3, how do coaches evaluate prospects? They rely on recruiting organizations like ourselves. They rely on purchase lists, such as the recruiter that's here, that's working with FBU, purchase his lists of detailed information of what your son can do and is able to accomplish. So his real height, his real weight, his real analysis of his highlight video, and all of that information. Coaches rely on information to determine whether your kids will be a good fit. Ultimately, there was a guy when I was coming out, his name was Tom Lemming. And he would drive around the country. He didn't know what an airplane was. He'd drive around the country looking for different prospects. And then he had me come to a local high school, took some information on me, put me in a book. That book went around to college coaches across the country. That book has transitioned to an online network. So we at NCSA are that network that they use, and they're looking for prospects. And they tell us, legitimately, we want a kid this height. And if I can't find him in California, I can find him in Georgia, Florida, Tennessee, Ohio, Alabama. I want a kid this weight with this speed. And you say, well, my kid's not this height, this speed, or that performance level. Is that school going to be interested in him? Not necessarily. So that we make sure that we evaluate your son's talent so that he can find out which group of schools, D1, D2, D3, NAI, he'd be a good fit for. He doesn't want to play at schools that don't want him to play there. He doesn't want to be a part of an environment that doesn't want him to be there. So you guys have got to find schools that would be a good fit, and we help to that end. Brings me to my next point, where am I qualified to play? Qualified is an interesting word, because we come here to identify, but your kids determine whether or not which schools they're qualified for, based on how good they're doing in their classroom, and based on their performance on the field. So you guys, through your evaluation with us at NCSA, through FBU one-on-one evaluations as well, they will figure out, what types of programs they're qualified for. And as I said, if the D1 schools don't come chasing, they gotta look for a lot of other options, guys. We try to set them up with dream schools, 25 dream schools, 100 target schools, and then 25 safety schools. Because if those dream schools don't come chasing or look at an online profile, look at his video or want him, he's going to target the 100 schools that actually want him to come and play. And if they don't offer an athletic scholarship and he needs to have an athletic scholarship, then possibly those safety schools may be interested as well. So as you guys look through it, you guys look through that circle, which kind of details the opportunities. 873 schools that are out there that offer opportunities for students to play. 123 D1A, 122 Division I AA, now called FCS, 166 Division II schools, 242 Division III, 85 NAIA schools. You may not be as familiar with NAIA schools. They're four-year schools, a lot of them private, small schools, so small population on campus. Very similar to Division III, Division II level of competition, physically and performance-wise, and then community college. Now, if your kids lack the academic maturity to play at a four-year school, then I would recommend them playing at a community college for 1 or 2 years. One if they're NCAA qualifier, 2 if they're not a qualifier, graduating with their associates, and transferring to a four-year school. Or, if they didn't get as much playing time, but they really want to play college football, let them go play 1 year at a local community college. But this is the reason I implore you that if your kids are good students, to fight for opportunities to play at four-year schools. At the JC, they don't have time to develop. When you come in, you better be ready to play right away. Because you compete against guys that would have played at USC or UCLA or Cal, that for some reason lack the academic maturity to take and complete the right classes. So if your kid is underdeveloped athletically, but academically is a good fit for a Division III or NAIA program, let them go play at the NAIA or Division III program as opposed to going to community college, because it can be a very cutthroat process going to compete at community college. Less than 1% students get a Division I full ride athletic scholarship. I talk to your kids, they raise their hand, every single one of them wants to go play at a Division I school. I get it. I wanted to play from the age of 12 at the University of Miami. I took my official visit to Miami and realized socially, Miami might be a little too much for me. They took me down to South Beach. We went to a club. I don't know how you get to a 17-year-old into a club. I had an amazing time. They dropped me off at 6:30 in the morning. My academic meeting was at 7 o'clock. If your kids can make it through Miami, they can make it through life. I promise you that. I had a great time, but you know, I'm very honest with my mom, so I told her everything that happened, you know, and she said, you know what, you think you can do that every weekend? I said, no, I don't know how they do it. I can't do that every weekend. And she said, well, maybe find a school that's a better fit for you socially. You work really hard in high school academically. You're taking 6 AP classes junior and senior year. You need to hold yourself accountable to the things that you've been accomplishing over time. So let's meet a group of young men. Let's go to a school that appreciates where guys have been working just as hard as you have. There were 7 valedictorians in my recruiting class at Stanford. If I could just rub shoulders with these guys and be friends with them, maybe I'd be able to graduate with a meaningful degree and set myself on course career-wise beyond what football can give to me. Realistically, the NFL not only stands for National Football League, it stands for not for long. Average career is around 3 years. You guys that are professionals, probably been working your profession 10, 15, 20, 30 years, a lifetime of opportunity and a career and a job and a meaningful existence. So help them realize it's not just what they're going to get from that football program, but what is that school going to do for them? What professors, what academic opportunities, internships would that school be able to afford to them while they're out there busting their butt, and that school owns them as a college football player, their time. They wake up at 6, they go lift. They go to class from 8 o'clock till 3 o'clock, mandatory practice from 3 o'clock to 7 o'clock, training table, and then mandatory study hall from 8 to 11 p.m. Every single day, 6 days a week, 8 months out of the year. So realize they're going to be asking you a lot of your students' life for those 4 or 5 years they're going to be competing. So your student needs to be getting everything out of it they can. They need to be getting every internship, every job opportunity that comes out of being a part of that college football program. But playing college football can open up a lot of doors for them that not playing college football can't. All the interviews that I got when I finished playing professional football, my employers never wanted to talk to me about my GPA. They never wanted to talk to me about my internships that I had when I was in college. All they wanted to talk to me about was college and professional football. What was it like to play in front of 50 or 100,000 screaming fans? Did you ever have a concussion? This is a 40, 50, 60-year-old man that's about to give me a job who hasn't talked about anything that has to do with the job. Because he knows you know how to be a part of a team as a collegiate athlete. He knows you know how to take a playbook and a game plan and a plan of action and to put it into practice. There's some basic things that employers understand about athletes that don't exist from a guy just walking down the street. And they appreciate that, and they seek out athletes to be a part of their companies because they know that they're good team members. Helping them figure out where they're qualified to play can be a game changer. It really can, but it happens over time. It's going to be hard breaking down to your kid that he's not a good fit for Fresno State, but a better fit for Azusa Pacific, because that's where they're wanted. But you can help them understand that they need to continue to do their job. You guys don't wake up in the morning and say, you know what, I'm just not going to work today. We don't need food, we don't need a house to live in. I don't need a car to drive, gas to put in that car. And they can't not do their job either. They can't just decide, I say that I'm fully committed to playing, but I'm not doing it in practice and on the field. Or I say I want to go to college, but I'm not doing it in the classroom when because you've seen them do it over time, that they can actually do it. So continue to ultimately encourage them to that end, and we can help them find schools. We have a lot of former college players, former college coaches that want to work one-on-one with you guys and evaluate them. How are they going to do it? Just like college coaches are not necessarily coming directly to your high school to look at your kids. We won't be coming directly to the high school to look at your kids either. A lot of the analysis is going to be over the phone and through film study and through email. So Andy Raymond, one of our scouts, he's doing one-on-one meetings next to the track with parents this weekend. And then I will be, and our scouting team will be calling every single one of you guys that filled out that blue questionnaire or that fill out the white questionnaire. I don't know if you saw it. That's in the back of this pamphlet here. So we can interview you and evaluate your kids, see where they are as a freshman, sophomore, junior, and then tell you guys what steps they need to be taking to ultimately find out what schools are going to be interested in them. And then every time a college coach clicks on their profile, looks at their video, you'll be notified of it. And you have access to that coach's phone number and email, and you can contact that coach. But then you'll be able to, over the phone, tell us what you need. You need a highlight video, we can help you make that. You need a proper evaluation so your son and you guys and family can try to figure out what the next steps are going to be. You can get that. You want somebody one-on-one to work with you, call you twice a month, call you once a month, check in with you. But you're definitely going to need somebody to lean on beyond your high school coach. High school coach has got 60, 80 kids to deal with from the JV up to the varsity program. So realize he can't be there every step of the way to answer all your questions when you say, I got a letter, what should we do with that? I got an email, what should we do with that? These 5 schools invited me to the camp. Which one should I go to? We can be that resource for you guys. We can bounce ideas off of us and start figuring out this whole process all together. The next thing is understanding what is the role of the high school coach. Now my high school coach did a phenomenal job. He really did. But he did his job based on intake. So this is what coaches do. If they get letters, or if they get emails, or if they get calls from a college coach, they will let you know and they will let your kid know. What if they don't get any letters from your kid? What if they don't get any questionnaires sent in? What if college coaches don't start calling that high school coach? What do you do then? And even the letters and calls and emails they get, they might get 5, 10, 20 emails, calls, coaches showing a person looking for your kid. But there's over 800 schools out there that need to get information on your sons. So understand, building a good relationship with the coach is phenomenal. Your coaches might have told you it was a waste of money to come here to the FBU camp, and you guys came anyway. Because you understand that if it's going to happen, you're going to have to take some steps beyond what the high school coach is doing so that your kid can actually hold himself accountable. It's not that the coach isn't preparing him to play at the next level. It's that he needs to go out and see these other guys who he may be playing with or against. See what height they are. See what they look like on film. And then have an opportunity to be able to compete in a space where they can grow and develop and figure out what a college prospect looks like. The next thing is understanding the next steps. So you get an interview, you ultimately get your son activated for free or as a client into the NCSA network, and then that's not it. The student athletes and families that filled out their online profiles, over 75% played college sports. Under 50% didn't play college sports. So when you actually sign up to be a part of the NCSA network, make sure you check everything off that list so that you get that profile fully filled out and distributed directly to college coaches. Just having it is not good enough. But actually getting everything detailed and put together and distributed to coaches, that's a good game plan that leads towards success in the recruiting process. I didn't necessarily have access to technology. My mom was working in marketing at IBM, and she said, if I can sell computers to the top companies in the nation, I can sell you to college coaches. And that's what we did. Email, call, film. Every other week, we were at FedEx sending out my paper resume, my VHS tape to college coaches. You guys have access to technology, and I would recommend that you use it and utilize it. And if it's not us, then it's a competing organization that's as successful as us. Because you have that space, you have the opportunity, and use it. Your kids would really appreciate it. Just as they're coming to you and saying, I want Michael Jordan tennis shoes, understand Michael Jordan tennis shoes is not going to help them get recruited. So you got to switch priorities to be able to give them the opportunity to do this as well, then that's just what you guys have to do. Ultimately, all you guys are going to get a free evaluation from being a part of FBU. And I would take advantage of you. Take advantage of that by those questionnaires you guys filled out, and then if you didn't fill out the questionnaire, you can fill out the white one that's in here and turn it into me. You're also going to get an NCAA an NCSA football recruiting guidelines workbook. And so this ultimately has a Division I NCAA core class worksheet. It has recruiting standards by division. What position is your son playing? Defensive end. So you'll get information that says, what does the defensive end look like that plays at Oregon? He is 6'4", 250 pounds. He runs a 4.6 in the 40-yard dash. He can bench 315 pounds, and he can squat 450 pounds coming out of high school. That's the top 10%, but that's Oregon. They are 10%. So what does the defensive end look like that goes to play at Humboldt State? This is specific. He's 6'2", a little shorter, 220, a little smaller. He runs a 4.8, a little slower, benches 305, squats 405. And if they can't find it in California, they'll go to Oregon, Washington, West Texas, South Carolina, Virginia to go find a guy that fits that need. How can your kids separate themselves from the competition? Besides physically, actually getting on the field and playing so they have enough film that college coaches can watch, and then academically. You know, if you get a kid that looks the same on film, has the same 40-yard dash, is going to the same camps, they're going to take the kid with the 3.5 over the kid with the 3.2. And you guys that do have mid-level prospects, kids that are good in their high school team, maybe recognized in the league, but aren't state recruits, statewide prospects, and aren't recognized nationally on NCSA's website or rivals.com or scout.com, and they do have over a 3.5, I would be looking for private school opportunities. I'd be looking for D3 schools where 75% they can offer you in academic funding is guaranteed money. Because those athletic scholarships are 1 year renewable at those colleges. If your son breaks his leg, there's no guarantee that they're going to give him a scholarship for 3 or 4 more years. They might just go and find somebody else that's healthy and go get that guy and put him in a position to succeed. With all of that, I encourage your kids to play because it's opened up doors for me that I couldn't have opened up for myself. It's opened up doors for me that my parents couldn't have opened up for me, which is saying a lot because they pushed me a lot to get to the point to where I could be a prospect. One of the people that decided to make sure that she can help use football as a tool to help young men take school seriously and take their lives seriously was Condoleezza Rice. Condoleezza Rice was my scholarship donor at Stanford. She's paying for my books, my tuition, my housing. You don't think when I filled out a job application and put a list of references, that vice president or director of that organization and that department would love to call Condoleezza Rice and ask her about me? There's people out there like that want to attach to your young men. They potentially want to pay for their college opportunity to play, help them get job, internship opportunities, simply because they play football. There's a lot in the media that wants to scare you guys. Concussions. They're not making enough money. They're not valued at the next level of competition. They want to scare you guys into sending your kids to playing college football. Ultimately, yes, it is built. There's a system built for the fittest of young men. Don't get me wrong. If they don't show a high level of commitment to you, why would they be showing that to a college coach? Or if they don't show it to their high school coach, why would they be showing it to a college coach? It's a high level of commitment. And you guys are taking steps to help them, hold them accountable to that level of commitment. If they are, I would seek out opportunities for them to play. A great opportunity to be in a group of young men that are moving forward with their lives and using football to help them move forward. They get to play physically at the highest level of competition they would ever be able to play and get to accomplish. And then beyond that, they brandish that school and the fact that they play football at that school for the rest of their lives. It's a very, very valuable tool that can help them move forward in their life, open up a lot of doors that I couldn't have necessarily opened up for myself as a student. So I know you guys are wanting to get out there and see them warm up. I want you guys that filled out these questionnaires to, it's perforated. So what you can do is, if you haven't filled it out, I have pins over there where you can fill it out.